Welcome to Let's Chew the Gum. I'm your host, Protocol. We talk about a lot of things on this show while we chew the gum. And as always, on each and every show, we always have
something for your mind, something for your mind, something for your
무엇인가 정신에 집어넣으세요. 어떤 것 필요합니까?
something for your
정신에 집어넣으세요.
mind,
정신에 집어넣으세요.
something for your
Welcome to another episode of Let's Chew the Gum, the podcast where we talk about topics that range from A to Z and everything in between. Today's show is all about telling your story and living your dream. It's so timely with the world that we currently possess, with all the craziness that's going on. Telling stories and hearing stories is a great opportunity to sustain memories, to bring families together, to sharing some laughs, some smiles, and just anything that can make the world a better place. I'm happy today that I get to share this episode with you because I had the privilege to obtain an exclusive interview with one of the best tenors in Los Angeles. Now, some of the young folks may not remember the days when people sang on the streets and made songs, but I'm talking about singers here. And this particular singer has been a part of some groups that some of you may remember from back in the day. The Tempos, the Sevilles, Full Force, made songs that went on to become hits and standards such as Charlena. And another one, Oh, I'll Never Be the Same, which eventually, if I'm not mistaken, became a hit of the group The Younghearts. This association goes deep. The story that you're going to hear today is real. And unlike my other podcast, this one, I'm going to let you in on a private phone interview that I had with none other than Andrew Byone, former singer who was a part of so many groups that have come out of L.A. Man, this story you're going to love. He talks about his experiences and associations and encounters with Little Richard and Stevie Wonder and Barry White. This guy knew about just about anybody and everybody out of Los Angeles. So stay tuned. We're going to bring the phone interview up in a moment, and I'm sure that you will enjoy it. Afterwards, leave your comments, phone in, and you can become a part of this history-making documentary that will follow this session. Before we bring it in, let me just remind the rest of our listeners that you're listening to Let's Chew the Gum. You can find this podcast elsewhere on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Breaker, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, as well as Spreaker and a few others. You can email us at letschewthegum@gmail.com or at protocol@gmail.com, protokall@gmail.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram using Let's Chew the Gum or at Professor TK. And now it's time for the interview. We're going to join the interview as it was in progress to allow for time. Ladies and gentlemen, the exclusive phone interview with the one and only Andrew Byone.
But yeah, I just didn't fit in that group, So I went on, and got with other groups, But the success of the Young Hearts really started with our song, Oh, I'll Never Be the Same, from the Tempos. And like I said, if we had stuck together and Curtis hadn't left the group when we broke up, that would have been us.
Yeah, so
And
Curtis,
it would have been
You said Curtis, his wife wanted him to get a job. That's why he left.
Yeah, well, he had, we had families. Everybody had families except for a couple of guys, and it was tough back then. Trying to make it, and trying to maintain a family and trying to bring in income, and you keep working and doing shows and stuff and making a little money to survive. But like I said, we were one song away from being a hit where we could have been successful. Right. And that's what kind of like, you almost make it and you don't. And so Ronnie and those guys, they got the break. When Bobby put them together, they recorded our song. Well, when I say our song, it was the song that we had worked on. It was meant for us to record. But it was Bobby's song, so he could, he owned the song, so he could produce it with whomever he wanted to, And when we broke up, we found out that we were broke up and we were not going to get back together. He moved on, and he moved on and got a big hit.
So Bobby wasn't aware of the breakup? He didn't know you guys were breaking up?
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, he was our manager. Oh. Yeah, he was aware. He was aware of it, but, that's something that's uncontrollable, when things don't work out. When you got 4 or 5 guys together, man, you got different personalities and different responsibilities and stuff. Like one of the guys in the group, Melvin, he was single, and he sung baritone in the group. He was a single guy, and then there was Don. He had a wife. Curtis had a wife. Jack had a wife, and I had a wife. And so, I guess when it's like a domino effect, man. When somebody quits in the group, you try to go on, and it just takes something away from the group, and then eventually somebody else wants to quit, and get a job, It's just like that movie, The 5 Heartbeats, man, and the Temptations. Those guys had guys in the group, man, and they kept getting disappointments, and they just said they can't do that anymore. They got to get a job, and they just don't want to do it anymore. And then they look around, and somebody else is in the group, and they're gone. And that's just exactly what happened with the Temptations and the guys that the original Temptations that left the group. And they looked around, and here comes this hit with My Girl. And then those guys were kicking themselves in the head because they had that opportunity, but they couldn't hang in there. Same thing happened with us with the Young Hearts. Young Hearts got the success off of it. And I mean, it's not their fault. They were just fortunate. They were there. They were the group that recorded the song, and it took off at the right time. And that one hit, man, when you're a young, good dynamic group, you have a hit record. Back in the day, man, the next thing you put out is automatically a hit. And then they came, I've Got Love for My Baby. That was, I think that was bigger than the first hit.
Right.
So they were just successful, man, And the only reason why that group broke up is because one of the members, which was a close friend of ours, me and Betty's, was named Bobby. He was in the group, and Bobby died of cancer.
Oh, I see.
And that kind of broke up their group, because the original Young Hearts were 4. There was 4 of them. Then I think James Moore, I think he eventually left the group because he was old. He was the older guy in the group. And the 3 of them went on: Charles Ingersoll, Ronnie Pryor, and I can't think of the little other guy that was in the group. he left, and then Bobby got in the group. I can't think of Bobby's last name right now, but Bobby got in the group, and that, it was a big fit. They fit, the three of them, and they got with 20th century records, because they left after that things happened in the Young Hearts. They moved on to another label under new management, and there was just three of them, man, and they just kept going. They just kept going and having hit records, man. And I don't think Ronnie has had to work a day in his life. Just about that music.
How about that?
And then he got a little depressed after Bobby died, because that was like the end of the Young Hearts, really. And then later on, Charles Ingersoll, he died. And so Ronnie is the last original Young Heart. And he's still out there. He's still out there, and he's doing well.
Yeah, he's the one that is performing in Vegas from time to time, right?
Yeah. He's still making it off of his group at the Young Hearts. But, we talk periodically, but not much, but he's surviving.
Yeah. Bobby, that's the guy also that where you got the pictures of yourself with Stevie Wonder and some of those other guys.
Yeah, that was Bobby Sanders. He was our manager. And Bobby that was in the Young Hearts, his last name was Bobby Solomon.
There's Bobby Solomon and Bobby Sanders.
Yeah, Bobby Sanders was our manager. Bobby Solomon was the last guy that got to join the Young Hearts when there was just three of them. And that's the one that died of cancer.
Oh, I got you. Who bought Bobby Solomon in? How did he get in the group?
Well, that's something I don't know because I wasn't really involved with him that much then. I was doing my own thing, and we ran into each other and found out he was in the group, and we started working with him, man. But he was an integral part of that group once they got going with the three of them, because Bobby could sing lead. He sang lead on a lot of songs. All three of them could sing lead, and they utilized that, and they were very successful, man. But like I said, things fell off after Bobby died. I think that was the end of the Young Hearts, the original, the real Young Hearts.
Right.
That kind of ended that venture,
Right, I got you. So the Tempos, the Tempos was your first group, you said.
When I got out of the service, they were kind of like waiting for me when I got out of the service, and I just fell right in, and we started touring. We started doing shows, traveling over the country before we even had a record out.
Oh wow! Getting out there, getting the name for yourself, and just kind of doing what you like to do, huh?
We were getting to make, touring, trying to make money, to survive, by doing shows, getting, get paid for those shows, and we survived on that for a while. And eventually you have to try to get a record out. We had a couple of records, which I still have copies of them, and they didn't get a lot of recognition at the time, because Bobby was kind of like we were with this management group, and they were trying to get things going, and it just didn't work out as way it was supposed to. People try to get you going and stuff and all that, but it takes money, man, to get you out there and knowing people and stuff like that.
So you grew up with these, with the guys in the tempos. You grew up with those guys in L.A. or Watts?
L.A.
Like y'all were high
Yeah.
school or middle school, high school together?
No, I met them when I got out of the service.
Oh, you got out. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, I knew Bobby, and that was Bobby's group. Bobby Sanders was managing them, and I know Bobby Sanders because me and Bobby grew up from kids. We were kids together, you know, and we grew up together in music, and we sung in different groups together. And man, there's so many groups I've been with. I can't even remember them all, you know. And that's why I said I need to try to collect myself to get the history of all the things that I went through and how I got started and all that stuff, man.
Right.
It's something I just can't do off the top of my head. I have to kind of do a little research.
No, I understand.
And
That's a long
kind of
time ago.
make some notes of where I started, how I started. You know, to start from the beginning, it would be, then you can kind of like edit it out, you know, after we do that.
Yeah, for sure. So you said a lot of groups. So I imagine guys were, just, some guys, and these guys, everybody's trying to sing and get together, and maybe some nights you with some group and the feeling is good, and you do some things together, and maybe somebody goes off somewhere, and so another group starts up, but everybody's singing though.
Yeah, you remember that movie, what's that movie that was made called, with Robert De Niro and his son grew up in the Bronx Tale. You remember that movie? Have you seen that movie of Bronx Tale?
Yeah, I have.
You see how those guys are on the street corner singing?
Yeah.
That's a reality. That's what we used to do. Just like in the movie The Temptations, how them guys are on the corner singing and people listening to them. That's the way it was back in there. Everybody was trying to sing.
That was the thing to do.
Yeah, that was the thing. That was the thing, singing, and groups and stuff, And some made it, some didn't.
Yeah, of course. So
but I made it with a group called the Sevilles. We had hit records.
The Sevilles?
Yeah. That's why I said it's history, man. I got a lot of history of groups, man, and I got the music too.
Wow, yeah, we definitely got to hear that. So were you in that generation, man, that would hang out in the clubs on Central Avenue?
We didn't, not on Central Avenue, but we did a lot of hanging out with clubs at Santa Barbara and L.A. and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
That's how we met Little Richard, and stuff like, I could go on and on, man, picking stuff up and remembering stuff, and it's out of order,
You're listening to Let's Chew the Gum, the podcast where we talk about everything from A to Z. This is an exclusive phone interview with Andrew Byone, the best tenor that I know. Remember, you can find Let's Chew the Gum, the podcast, on Spotify, Anchor, Google Podcasts, Breaker, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, Spreaker. You can also email us at letschewthegum@gmail.com, protocol@gmail.com. That's PROTKALL@gmail.com. Look for us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, llNeverBeTheSame, and several other social media networks, all by searching for Let's Chew the Gum or at Professor TK. We'll be right back to continue the interview after a word from our sponsor. Stay tuned. Y'all come back now, you hear?
Mind, something for your mind, mind.
Have you ever thought about making your own podcast? If you haven't, Anchor is the way to go. It's a really easy way to get started. It's free. They have creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. They will distribute the podcast for you so it can be heard just about everywhere: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, many more locations. You can even make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. Everything you need to make one podcast or several podcasts all in one place. All you have to do is download the free Anchor app or go to Anchor FM to get started. Check it out. Thank you for coming back. If you like what you hear on this station, you can show your support by going to anchor.fm/protocol, where you can donate $99, $4.99, or $9.99 a month. But for now, let's join our interview already in progress with the one and only Andrew Byone.
In the 60s, man, I was with another group, and that group broke up, and one of the guys in the Sevilles, they had a hit record called Charlena.
All right.
And Ernie went to jail, and I took his place. And we made a lot of records, man. And we had a few hit records, man. And Charlena's a standard right now, man. It's a standard, Oldie Goodie standard, you know.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard Charlena.
Yeah, and so, you know, it's a lot, man. But we'll get into it, man.
Okay, for sure. It seemed like you should be getting some royalties or something from some of them songs, man. Even though they're owned by other people, you know, you participated. So.
Well, you know, a lot of people that were involved in that stuff, Tyree, most of them are gone, and so, you know, where do you go? You know, where do you find it? How do you research and find all that stuff?
Yeah.
You know, I used to have Bobby Sanders' lady. We used to date. As a matter of fact, her name was Betty too.
Oh, how about that?
And we used to be in contact with her after Bobby died, but then, you know, that kind of faded, you know, and so, you know, you don't know where anybody is anymore, you know?
Are we talking about the same woman that you got the pictures from? Oh, this is a different woman.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, this was Bobby's woman.
Oh, okay.
Bobby Sanders, the manager's girl, you know.
Oh, okay. I thought that.
Yeah.
I thought that was the same wife who you got the pictures from, with you and Little Richard and Stevie Wonder.
Oh well, yeah, I got those from Bobby and him. Yeah, Bobby gave us all those. Gave me all those pictures. We went. Me and Betty went over his apartment one time, and he gave me a bunch of them. You know, and we made copies of them. But I don't know what happened. I never could find them.
Are you not in contact with his ex-wife anymore?
No. That's what I said. We lost contact after Bobby died. We communicated for a while, and then it kind of like faded away. You know.
Is her name Betty? Is her name Betty Sanders?
No.
What's her
They
name?
weren't married.
Oh, okay.
They weren't married.
You don't know her last name?
No, not anymore.
Okay. No, man, this is good stuff, man. I appreciate you taking the time. It's definitely a start, so I look forward to just some more, man. So,
maybe I can search out some of the stuff from Bobby's label, because his label was called Soul Town Records.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe I can do some research on that and see if there's anything around,
Yeah, absolutely, man. Because some people know, and it'll be some records. So, once you get to digging and searching, you never know what pops up and who pops up, and somebody else is out there wanting to tell the story or have some say on it too, man. Because you guys all had experiences, man, and we're all a part of that history, man, and it matters, man. And so that, all the people you guys encountered that know of you guys and know your stories, they know this, the deal too. And I'm sure a lot of them want to tell stories too.
Well, there's been stories out there, man, about groups that I've been in, and like when you, some of them put your names in it and some of them don't, And I've had that happen to me,
Right.
where I've been with groups and they have little short stories on like on YouTube and stuff, and they put the group people in the group that's in the group at that time, and they don't even recognize who was really in the group. Like I've been looked over in several groups, you know.
Yeah.
But I know the truth behind it, you know, and they know the truth behind it.
Yeah, that's the deal. Yeah, sometimes, man, people start doing that, and it's money involved, and they don't want to split the money. You know, there's be some money involved for people that's involved, and they put your name in it, then they got to pay you. And so I'm not saying that's what happened, but I know that happens sometimes.
That could be. That could be the story behind it. And see, the thing about it, man, groups that like I joined after somebody left the group. And, you know, this is not bragging or nothing, but I was good. I was one of the best tenors in Los Angeles. And that's why I could get into a group easy, because I knew what I was doing, and I had a voice. And that's why you could always hear the difference in a group when somebody else was in it and when I was in it. You can tell the difference.
Well, I know from listening to songs, every time I'm hearing a song, man, I can pick you out like it's nothing, man. It's evident. So I know what you're saying is true. I've heard it.
Yeah. So like when I got in the Sevilles, I feel like, and a lot of people feel like, that our sound was better when I got in the group. And not putting Ernie down, but Ernie had a different sound at singing second tenor.
Yeah.
And I had a different sound that I feel like it blended more.
Yes.
You know, because Leroy and Charles, Leroy had a beautiful first tenor. He had a natural first tenor, and I was a second. I had a natural second, and Charles was a heck of a baritone singer, and we just blended well. You know, we just had a different sound, and I can show you that sometimes when we do get on this, and I get my 45s and play them. You can listen to the previous, the Sevilles when Ernie was in the group, and you can listen to the Sevilles when I was in the group.
Right.
And you can tell the sound. You can listen to the sound and see it's different.
So the Sevilles was a trio.
No, it's four of us.
It was you said Leroy, Charles, you, and what's the other person?
James Spencer.
Okay. What did he sing? What you were second tenor, first tenor, baritone? What did he sing?
Who, James?
Yeah.
James was the lead.
Oh, okay.
James, we had mostly one lead singer, and that was James. James was so super good, man. So he was a hell of a singer, and he, like Wilson Pickett type singer.
Wow.
Yeah. And he sung with spiritual groups also. So he knew how to sing now.
He had a background there. You know, those choirs get you right.
You've heard James before on songs, you know.
Yeah, I think so for sure.
You know, like when I was singing with the Full Force, We Come a Long Way Together. That's James singing lead on that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Of course. Is which is the group that's saying that's my song, man? You can do it. What group is that?
Oh, that's the Young Hearts. The Young Hearts. That song those songs never came out. Yeah. They were just mastered.
Oh yeah, I got you. That's that one right there, man. That get me every time. I think about that sometimes. I be writing, I just start singing it, man.
Yeah. But anyway, man, we'll get with this, man, and talk more about it, man. I'm gonna get up and get myself together here.
All right, man.
I've been laying around all morning, man.
Okay, no, it's all good, man.
All right.
I'll talk to you a little bit later. Thanks a lot.
All right.
All right, later.
Bye.
So there you have it. That was an exclusive interview with none other than Andrew Byone right here on Let's Chew the Gum, the podcast where we talk about everything from A to Z. I want to invite all of you to reach out to us if you'd like to be a guest on the show, or if you have topics that you'd like to hear me discuss with other guests. Again, you can reach us by email at letschewthegum@gmail.com or at protocol@gmail.com. Again, that's PROTKALL@gmail.com. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, also using Let's Chew the Gum or at Professor TK. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed our exclusive interview with the one and only Andrew Byone. And for all of you, remember, tell your stories, live your dreams. It's important. It brings us together. It provides good memories. This has been another episode of Let's Chew the Gum, the podcast where we always have.
Something for your mind. Something for your mind.
L.A.s 마음이야.
Something for your mind.
무엇인가 정신을 집어넣으세요. 마음에 어떤 것 필요합니까?
Something for your
정신을 집어넣으세요.
mind.
정신을 집어넣으세요.
Something for your